Usually we make a phone call
just before I started.
to get
Count on it to look at it.
$1 million question. The phone rang.
And if I was
I
contract provides
Okay, thank you.
or upon payment. This section B on page 3 says or contractual agreement. So there's no contract that lives forever with no way out. So if we want, we can cancel it. But and obviously, we can cancel it. Say we're not going to work with anymore. What the option is going to be? I mean, there's no push either way. But I saw that this issue. Plus, I mean, basically, it's indefinite unless there's a major breach, and I've never seen anything like that before. No, I've never seen that
Share with you some information.
I think
Before you run out tonight, can I just grab you for a question?
yeah, sure. What do you mean run out? Well, make it look like I'm not trying to.
I was just gonna say that
He's paid by the hour.
you do leave when it's over.
I'm just kidding.
That's all.
So, and we could find a reason. I mean, based on the whole
They'd be happy to find a way to bug. Everybody ready then? Okay. I'd like to call the work session for the Common Council to order, April 12th. This is the part of the meeting where we discuss any items in greater detail. I would like to ask your indulgence for us to go into a very brief executive session though, and the purpose will be to discuss approval of a settlement between the City of Plattsburgh and an AskMe employee. Do I have a motion to move into executive session? Councilor Casper and second by Councilor Ansel, all in favor? Passed.
Rochelle,
Yes,
you gonna
call
come?
me? All right, thank you.
Shouldn't take very long at all this time.
Whoa. Hope that didn't turn. Brian?
You know, I wonder why I have to adjust those cables.
Sorry, hopefully I didn't pull something out.
I'm going, 5 to 10. Yeah. You gonna take that? Over 5? Yeah. We're all saying over 17. Less than 17.
Over under 757.
Brian, do I need to mute it on here too? Or just here?
Was the over under 17 minutes?
The conversation usually
I'm going over.
deviates.
20 bucks a minute?
I'm sorry.
I just pushed that one, but I didn't know, should I mute it on here too?
No, the power's off. They don't even hear anything.
5. So.
I don't think so, because you don't know.
She's not the only thing that could be plus.
Gambling is tobacco products are not allowed in the city.
No, just 5 years.
Yeah, we should get
So yes, turn that back to the
Not true on both.
Yes, so
Would you be willing to, that fall into the harder the
Pull this out.
well, I'm probably gonna leave it here, but
two or three different options.
Oh, maybe just not leave that.
it's not just me.
Instead of paying for the whole demo, maybe I would pay for just the using the back. Now we're left with a building that.
We can ball it up.
Either one of those will work. That's my question.
Definitely that's done at Modern Bridge, one of the boats went.
Oh, yeah.
And you get rid of the rest, we can ball it up. But one of the boats.
You know, I could probably get, you know, with our contract, you say, I could probably just make a
Yeah, what's it called?
He'll have that out there.
You know, listening, I'm doing it.
But find that's 20 grams, something that I don't.
He wasn't charged that much.
I don't know how much they charge, I think, or anymore.
Maybe one.
Our costs to price that, they said, if you use it, subcontract price for maintenance around 10.
Probably. Earlier, I just give more.
Yeah. I'd still be looking at package. Plus I got a.
You keep playing that.
So, one person will leave, right?
So while I look at the acres, I think that's just to get really.
Let's see the replay. Oh, looks like she's weak to hamstrings. Okay.
Manage the problem.
Woman was practical before, or fashioned before, rather than practical. That would be, yeah, they. So you got the excavator.
Problems I don't know what.
We could provide.
We found that,
Oh, you did?
we didn't print it last week.
That would be really good.
And released it.
We'll sit by and see what I wish I could find some place one.
Foundation stuff that can all work.
So we printed it today. And that's the Oh, the healthcare stuff. I just sent him a ton of stuff. I copied you too, I don't know if you want it.
Question two. Possibility. Talk to Dave Gamble.
We sent it March 5.
He does actually have that's why I
This file.
said I got two files. Because, you know, a lot of these guys are not. He said, don't feel like that floor crew. I'm talking to you.
As far away, you know,
It's more fun to steal.
Staff on.
We want to steal, they want you every once in a while, right? Everybody else does. I think that's still okay.
Clean floors, paint buildings, and polish the
the more you look at it, the more you find it can improve or do a little differently. You just find some mistakes. I was gonna send it to you this afternoon. Now you're rushing it, you're rushing it.
So, hold on.
Get this out.
Again, come back.
So we had have a bigger spreadsheet that creates some base numbers and transpose them, correct? I was looking at something like this. I also thought we actually right.
I think it's wise to
What I found in this
reach out to these conversations and give them
I put in 2000, this is what it's going to do. Now, 2015, they were up just a fair amount. Like the town is down, so it's 60,000. Regular rate pay rates. Our whole base revenue is down.
See, the problem with town is we're doing a lot of monitoring.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
Well,
Well, I'm monitoring, we're actually getting numbers from them. They want to be involved.
yeah, that's the first question. There are meters, there's sewer, most of their sewer connections now have inline measured devices.
I don't think that's a problem.
But it's only.
You guys just want to add on.
Ratio. So they I wouldn't say,
The third
everything is, are we losing the
because
we can use the word option or not, and we don't have that, I don't think that,
so.
And this is even beyond the budget maintenance.
Oh,
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So, we're stopping.
Yeah, so since like 2013, the sewer fund
They started around 7
actual expensing revenues.
I was surprised, I didn't
Black.
think I was.
Except for
Those
like
people, even contractors, yeah, they get around 78, they started
Eliminating that.
Over, we get 8-hour days or at least.
Yes, anything that's cash, whether it's from a reserve or from fund balance or whatever, they add on to the expense, because, which means I don't consider it to be recurring, or it's at least discretionary. We can decide what has to be. If we have a bond payment, that we're that's gotta show.
The ones that go in the back, choose capital, and all separate property transfers. So there comes down to reserve, that still count.
This could be a start.
Back
Show
to
the actual operating.
Yeah.
Good.
And then we'll keep an eye on our cash.
I love it when back up.
Now, the water fund, I was looking at the actual cost after backing out the IC and stuff like that.
We don't want to.
4 years
I
ago,
don't
it
think we
was
wanna-
a slight negative, like 14,000. And so next year it was like a positive 100. Then it was negative 100, and then I think positive again last year.
And they were bouncing.
Yeah. So we're hovering along that line, which there's a move from a lot of cash, because in our front, but there's no cash in our. A little bit below the line.
voicemail.
And I think that the only cash in there.
So now I gotta get everything now.
Right, so kind of negative cash flow.
Oh, yeah.
Break even on the other.
It's your process.
That's it.
So,
And it has to
takes me longer.
So your
Miles,
FOIA request says,
I think I started yesterday, when I've got,
how many apples were in that cart?
once we feel like our
How many
model is structurally sound, then I've got,
5 apples in the cart.
efficiencies and cost estimations to plug in, expected retirements,
And that's what you're
either not replacing, replacing at a lower cost, or some stuff like that. That'll kind of take the rates a little bit. What's your rate?
He doesn't have to look at.
More analysis.
The philosophies and practices of the we wanted to save 5% and look at what.
Then you gotta come to my office. Yeah, it wasn't hard to. We need those back in my.
So we.
For a roll of
Of course, the fire department.
they use the budget.
Yeah.
Everything.
We got a price.
I don't know like this. Put it in that package.
Do that after the breakdown, they tell you, can you read the first case, no change?
Yeah.
Last week.
They get nasty. But they also have candy bars.
That's it. The next guy would give.
Or doggy treats.
By the way, I'm sure you can find out.
Just for residential.
5 years of rent.
Huge fan.
Need a disposable wrench?
16.
You know, I don't like it. They let us buy it. You buy it. That's what you want. And for less than half the price, about a box of 12.
So that's like 100%. That's gonna take over 60%.
Oh, the benefits included too.
Okay.
Road, parts,
Just one place, it's cheaper, you just wait for it.
We have, they only charge you so much.
Financing costs, so and that was signed. It's $1.20,
Yeah, that would be.
She back?
Call it.
Another one?
I have 517.
I got 514.
Just kidding. I just heard
516. Come on.
A lot of other things are, but.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Is that all? Brian, is this the only thing? Yep.
And, yeah, minimize the.
I just want to know what the over-under was.
17 was the mark.
We've returned from executive session. We discussed an issue regarding the city of Plattsburgh and asking employee. You'll see a decision made presumably later on in the agenda. No decisions were made during executive session. Again, this is the time where you can have some extended discussion on anything you'd like to pull out of the agenda. I'm sure all of you will be glad to note that you'll be voting tonight on the highway oil RFP. Kevin, when do you feel the work will be able to start on highway oil?
I just called Mr. Burke today, let him know it's on the agenda and asked him, and he said that he thought it would probably be early to mid-May.
Excellent.
New agreement, we asked for it to be done in 30 days from the date of award, 30 days from tomorrow.
Excellent. You'll see another travel request to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Annual Technology Conference. I might recommend, if you'd like to firm this, to develop a policy when people go on one of these trips. I guess I'd like when they return to know two things: whether they had all deviated from the travel arrangements, and I'd be interested in knowing what sessions they attended and what information they can share with their colleagues. You know, just half a page or a page little note to me. I'd find that interesting, and perhaps we could even spread the word of what they've learned so other people can take advantage of that knowledge.
John does that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read it, but.
He goes into his file and just prints the same one out. Changes the date. Uses the template.
Any of you planning to attend the block party up on Trafalgar Drive on June 3rd?
They didn't
Peter?
invite their city councilman.
Would any of the department heads like to speak to the council about anything, if it might concern you? I guess we're starting very quickly into construction. I know Kevin's been working hard to get the construction projects going.
Well, in order to save time, instead of bringing something up in new business, I can.
Sure.
Couple of questions. One is, I would like to come back to the issue of fires in the city. Brought it up last year, and I just had a complaint, actually Rochelle, from somebody in your ward. It was warm, she opened her windows, and somebody like 15 feet away was burning trashy wood, getting smoke in her house. And that was an issue on Lynn Street, multiple complaints, and I know police were contacted multiple times, and Dean can weigh in on this. The question of the issue is whether there's, what do you call it, a spark resistor or something? Whether it's open or not, but, I mean, there are, people are burning a lot of fires in the city, and, you know, I think that there's a difference. I don't want to destroy people's backyard in evening, but there's a difference between living in the country and having a fire pit and living in a neighborhood where, you know, the wall to wall is maybe 15 or 20 feet from one house to the other, and having your windows open in the summer and having clouds of smoke billow through your house, I think is a hazard, a health hazard, as well as just, you know, just frankly uncomfortable. And so I don't know if we need to revisit the code on that.
I mean, offhand, I thought there was another provision saying if there's an offensive odor or some kind of nuisance
Right.
spreading to your neighbor, that can also be a basis to put out that fire, but that requires a complaint. And so I don't mind, I mean, certainly we can work
Right.
and try to tighten up the code if that's not
And
sufficient.
I'd like to do that, Chief, in communication with Fire Chief as well, because there were two different kinds of responses between police and fire. Fire immediately went over with a hose and put out the fire. It didn't matter. Somebody said there's a fire, fire's gonna put it out. Police had different responses. You know, that's not against the code, so forth. So if we can all get on the same page, I think that would be really helpful. Another thing is, Friday I'm going to go out with Denise and we're going to start mapping the feral cat colonies. And so the request of the group was if we're willing to have, you know, the inserts to the bill, MLD bill, to try to get community input, because people who live near cat colonies know where the cat colonies are, instead of us trying to go out with infrared at night or whatever, try to find them. So, you know, if that would be something that would be agreeable, that we could ask for people to contact us, also to offer if they want to volunteer to help with the situation. So I was thinking about how we would do that. It can't be a clearinghouse of information that's public for the reasons that we've stated before, which is we don't want everybody to know where the colonies are, because then some really nasty things could happen. But so I'd like to bring that to you guys to see if that would be agreeable.
Well, you know, your project was funded from the city, so couldn't we have some sort of alert and contact information on our website?
Yeah, I would like to do that. On the website, that would be really easy to do. The issue of the inserts in the bill is that not everyone is online still. And to be honest, the people who are the vigilant observers of their neighborhoods and what's going on are probably often people who are older, who really are not online, and yet who know all the cats and probably have named them as they're walking by. I'm thinking of all my cat ladies who probably got me into office the first time around.
I've given them a few names.
Yeah. So that's the idea of the insert in the bill, is that it reaches a wider audience than the online, although I think the online should be there too. So,
Maybe a press release too, to
That
increase
would be
people's
nice.
awareness?
yeah, I would like to do that.
We have over 5,000 customer emails in our system that we can send a direct alert to. Brian does it for us when we send out the Department of Health annual water quality report. It's a mass way
Right,
of reaching people.
that would be great. Okay,
So whatever notice we put in the mailings, we can actually send that same notice
Yep.
to 5,000 email accounts.
okay, good. We can strike out many. I fully expect that the animal control officer is going to be very busy. A lot of people have been reporting to me, not skunks, raccoons, but possums.
Yes.
Possums are out in full force right now, so I imagine, has he been getting a lot of calls?
I've come across a few possums already, and it'll be more prevalent this year.
Yep,
Had one across Tom Miller Road the other day in front of me.
my backyard. Yep. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Any other issues?
I do. I've had a couple contacts this past week, as Becky and I were saying, it's been a busy week. I don't know if it's the weather. But one constituent indicated she called in a car parked in her front yard over the weekend, and she was told by the police department that is no longer on the books. Is that because it's a variant, or is that because it's not a police issue? Why?
Whereabouts, it was parked on a lawn?
Yes, college housing, they're parking on the lawn up, yes. And she called it in and was told that's no longer on the books. And she was an integral part of developing that some years ago. So she was quite surprised to hear that it was no longer on the books. And I didn't know if because it came under the building inspector, how that's handled on the weekends.
Have the same issue on Tom Miller Road.
Yeah. Joe, I think we were issuing those tickets, or has anything changed for that?
Yeah, that's on the books.
Yeah, I thought.
You can't get a variance for that either, so there's no variance for parking on the grass.
So who would they call again?
If it's on,
Is it-
over weekends, we can certainly handle that.
Because one point is, it's usually on the weekends when they have friends show up. Come Monday, they're gone.
Mhm.
So if you wait to contact the building inspector, the issues.
Right.
And also, it's been brought to my attention, specifically people who live on Court Street, the garbage that is put out on Saturday morning for a Monday morning pickup. It's out there for 48 hours. Can the police do something about that? I mean, they said by the time it gets picked up on Monday, the animals have been into it, it's been knocked over, it's half out on the street, garbage cans are on the sidewalks. Is that a littering issue? I mean, because if you wait till Monday, you probably wouldn't get addressed until Tuesday or Wednesday, and it's over.
But you're saying it's being picked up Monday anyway. But
Monday, but they're living all
Yeah,
weekend
no, I
with the
understand.
garbage. And for some reason, either they're leaving, most of it's multifamily housing, it gets put out on Saturday morning. So they wanted to know, could the police do anything? Is that considered a,
You can certainly try and address it, but the problem arises because there are multiple dwellings, and who's responsible, who put the garbage out there? They're gonna claim, I'm assuming, that it wasn't my garbage, it was the other ones, or maybe it's the landlord that is responsible for putting the garbage out, so it may not be an immediate,
Right.
but it may be something we can try and address to the best.
you know, and then they're saying there's certainly not, and we've talked about this before, enough receptacles. There's maybe 2 receptacles with 20 bags on the ground that get torn and dragged, and it's not can pickers. I know that used to be at one time an issue.
I'll get together with the chief and we'll sort this out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And also, it's a spin-off of the Centennial meeting contact, and we'll get into that, but I've had an individual who would like to volunteer to redo the roundabout.
No,
He's a
no,
professional landscaper,
no, no.
and many people out there have said it's an eyesore. The viney pine that sits in the middle
The
of,
pine should be taken out.
Taken
And
out.
that stuff, I tried with a group of volunteers, you can't even, you need a bomb to get that
he
stuff out.
has the capability, he'd also like to do the right kind of planting for
No,
that
well,
spot.
I would like the opportunity to do what we've been trying to do for several years now. I mean, you know, with all respect to professional landscapers, and regardless of the volunteer nature of it, if you look at different spots in the city where landscaping was done, whether it was paid for, and then what happens? It grows. It grows and it grows out of control, and it takes over, because that's the nature of plants, period. I don't care what you have. So you can have all kinds of shrubbery put in, which, never mind. It might look neater, but it's not going to contribute to beautification. And what happens in 5 or 6 years when the volunteer is no longer doing it? So I have continually volunteered to take care of certain places using wildflowers, and this is one opportunity where Public Works has given me that chance to prove something.
Yeah, explain that.
So we had some mix-ups, some miscommunications. That's why it hasn't been what my vision of it was, but we're gonna do it this year. And if it doesn't work, and if people don't like it, okay, put in the permanent shrubbery, but if you can let me show the city something different, something that is self-maintaining, that is indigenous, resistant to drought, and is strikingly beautiful, give me the chance.
I like, yeah. Ooh. Turn it down.
Is that it?
Sorry.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, and they also expressed an interest in, when it comes time for the grounds here, that they'd like to be part of it.
There are, you know, I have continually asked for volunteers to adopt spots. As you know, my parents and I take care of the monument, and in the past, we've taken care of several of the city signs coming in which have planters. We don't have a planter anymore on Route 3 because that was, with the sidewalk, the sign was redesigned. But if, you know, let's have some beautification, you know, not to diss Cashman, but you've got planters for the town of Plattsburgh they've got hostas in them, you know, there's not much to them. But there's somebody who does the planter, the city sign planter out on Tom Miller Road, which is gorgeous. I have no idea who does it, but they do a fantastic job. We need the one out on Route 9 to be done. My parents and I took care of that for a couple of years, but I don't like them having to go and park on the road while the traffic's coming through the water. And then we have multiple signs, and volunteers could do that.
Service clubs.
That's a good idea.
Service clubs, and I'm constantly putting out a call for that. And one thing is, and Dale, I'm sure you recall this when we first started the beautification committee, is that people often want the city to pay to purchase the flowers and so forth, and people call me up and say, well, you buy the flowers for me. And what I say is, this is an investment of the community. It's not just your time, but, you know, we buy all the flowers. I spend at least $500 a year on the wildflower seeds that I distribute to anyone who wants them. So, you know, people can do that, buy flowers, and put whatever they want into the planters, but they've got to maintain them. And, you know, you got me on a little bit of a beautification right here. I wish Bill were here, because do we ever paint the lights? You know what I'm talking about? The street lights, the traffic lights? They're peeling, they're chipped, they look terrible. I've noticed repeatedly, but Cornelia and Beekman, there's virtually no yellow on those streetlights anymore, traffic lights. And there are other lights coming down Broad Street. It just looks terrible. And I can't imagine that MLD doesn't have the money to put into these finer points of making the city look good, because they matter. They matter a lot, little things like that.
I have one other item since we're talking about gardening. I've actually had 2 constituents ask me if there's any way the community garden in Penfield Park could be moved over to the old skateboard park, which is now over, and because the other aspect is with the garden being so close to the Little League field, oftentimes the teams will be warming up or practicing on the side there. Balls go into the garden. Sometimes the kids go in to get their balls, and the gardeners kind of shoo them away and so on. So they just asked if there's anything that can be done as kind of a win-win situation.
I'm going to tell you, do you know how much work went into the construction? I was there with helping to remove the sod. That took years to create that garden.
Oh, I know. I
think the
walk
water-
by it all the time.
And the water
supply.
the water
Right,
supply,
the
I mean,
pump is
that's
there.
just, that's.
Maybe something can be done with that abandoned skate park that really is an eyesore.
You're working on parks, and perhaps we can have a discussion with some mics about that as well. Thank you. Maybe we can save any of our other new business for later on in the meeting. Let's begin by pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed,
Present.
Counselor Armstrong,
Here.
Counselor Kelly,
Here.
Counselor Dowell.
Here.
Counselor Ensel.
Here.
Counselor Casper.
Here.
Counselor Kretzer. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on April 6, 2017 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councillor Kelly, second by Councillor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending April 12, 2017 in the amount of $457,055.09 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Counselor Ensel, second by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the reports as listed are hereby ordered received and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Counselor Kelly and second by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Resolved that the bills audited by the common council for the week ending April 14, 2017 in the amount of $493,248.26 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Counselor Dowdle and seconded by Counselor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. This is an opportunity on the agenda for anybody to come and speak to the council. At this time, we ask you to restrict your comments to 5 minutes into items on the agenda. There will be another opportunity to speak momentarily at the end of our meeting as well on any items of your choice. Seeing none, please continue.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves MLD to write off unpaid final bills from January 1st, 2016 to January 31st, 2016 in the total amount of $4,143.18. The percentage of write-offs for this period is 0.21%.
Moved by Counselor Kelly, seconded by Counselor Casper. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves Seth Silver of 40 Trafalgar Drive to close down part of Trafalgar Drive on June 3rd, 2017 from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. to have a safe area for their 8th annual block party.
Moved by Counselor Ensel, seconded by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion.
I just have one question about that. And I know I saw in the request that the neighbors would be notified. I'm just wondering if the neighbors have been told in advance that this request was coming in.
He does it every year.
Yeah, I know, it's the 8th annual. Just a minor point.
Any other questions or concerns? Roll call, please.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council...
Roll call?
Roll call.
Oh, sorry.
You're fast tonight.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves that the mayor is authorized to sign a settlement agreement between the city of Plattsburgh and AFSCME employee Justin Jock regarding a grievance on or about March 31st, 2016, and pay the sum of $2,950 minus applicable deductions in full and complete satisfaction of the claims contained in the grievance.
Moved by Counselor Dowdle and seconded by Counselor Kelly. Discussion, please. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
No.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves the city chamberlain to increase the 2017 general fund budget by a net $13,630.80 based on the list of adjusting entries in the budget transfer memo included as part of the documents for the meeting.
Moved by Counselor Ensel and seconded by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion, please. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves the city chamberlain to adjust the 2017 sewer fund budget through a transfer of $1,686 between the WPCP plant flow budget and the flow pumping stations budget, resulting in no increase to appropriations.
Moved by Counselor Casper, seconded by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves that the mayor be authorized to sign limited hazardous materials survey services agreement with Atlantic Testing Laboratories for Fire Station 2, 7 South Platt Street. The cost associated with this service is $1,888.
Moved by Councilor Insel, second by Councilor Dowdle. Discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
yes,
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Insel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves contract 2017-05, former highway oil building demolition be awarded to Jada Environmental for the quoted price of $29,880. Sufficient funding is available in the 2017 capital project H5110.63 40 Bridge Street project.
Moved by Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Kelly. Discussion?
Yes, if I remember correctly, we had $60,000 allotted for this project. Is that correct?
That is correct. I believe it's a $54,000 and $6,000 local match for a total of $60,000.
So how much local match do we have to provide then, Kevin?
I think the terms of the grant are such that it's a 90-10 split the
Okay.
whole way.
So we cut the match in half also, is that?
I think so, right, but there will be additional costs besides this. We'll have to do air monitoring and an all-clean certification for the asbestos during demolition. And then we'll do some site restoration or beautification after.
Okay.
But we should be well below our.
It'll come in well below the,
I think so, yes.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that.
And DPW is going to allow us to do some of the restoration afterwards, so I think that can act as our in-kind donation to this project rather than out-of-pocket donation for that matter too, presumably. Any other questions? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
yes,
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Insel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves one police department employee to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Annual Technology Conference in St. Louis, Missouri from May 21st through 25th, 2017. The total cost will not exceed $2,293 and will be expensed out of the Asset Forfeiture Fund.
Moved by Councilor Dowdle and second by Councilor Insel. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Counselor Armstrong?
yes,
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Insel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
There's a resolution here for initial consideration. This resolution on your agenda, it is an update of our FOIL policy to make sure our FOIL policy is consistent with state regulations. It also ensures, we've been working very hard on processes, and to ensure that we can track processes, we ask all FOILs to go to our city clerk, but also all appeals initially go to our city clerk as well, so she can make sure we're tracking them and doing all the proper timings associated with them. You've seen in your packet the suggested wording changes, and it's all gone through council. Does council want to make any other additional comments?
The only other addition was the existing policy references former Mayor Jim Callan, so we just deleted that reference to the specific name of the mayor and just say Mayor, City of Plattsburgh.
Unless the rest of the council wants more time for consideration, I would move to invoke Rule 4.
Moved by Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Dowdle. Any further discussion? So we can have a vote on Rule 4 and passing the motion at the same time?
Sure. If she wants to clarify, yeah. I mean,
If that's
making a
what we
motion.
do.
Rule 4 and move the resolution.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Any additional new business that the councilors would like to raise? Please, Councilor Kelly.
Yes, I'd just like to inform the council that the next meeting of the Plattsburgh Municipal Lighting Department Board will be next Thursday, April 20th, immediately following the city council meeting. That's an important meeting because it is the annual organizational meeting, and it's a time to nominate and elect new officers. So if you're interested in becoming an officer for the Plattsburgh Municipal Lighting Department Board, this is a chance to do it. And having been the chair now for, I believe, a couple of years, it's been very exciting. Working with Bill and CFO Kluge is always a rewarding experience because they do all the work and and we get all the credit. So good people to work with. And I'll be sending out the agenda for this meeting, and if you would like to make any additions or deletions to that agenda, please feel free to do so. And one other thing, actually two other things if you don't mind. We have our next round of department heads meetings on April 27th, immediately following the council meeting. Now, for you department heads who are here, I'll just let you know we've changed that up a little bit. We used to do a budget hearing every month and have the department heads come in and talk to us immediately after Chamberlain Mark's report, but it's a lengthy process, so we decided to break it into two separate meetings. So on April 27th, we'll have our administrative services departments report to us, and we'll be in a rotation then to hear from all of you once a quarter thereafter. And the final thing is we had our monthly budget hearing last week, and we received an update from Chamberlain Marks, and it was very informative, and it was some good news. Our revenues are higher than we expected, and our expenses are lower than we expected. So we are right on budget or slightly better in most departments. So that's something for all of us to be proud of. I also received an email from Mr. Marks this week describing how we got into a no fund balance situation, and I thought that was very helpful, Mr. Marks, and I'd be happy to share that. I don't know if he sent that to everybody or not, but it was very helpful. And basically we've had windfalls in the past that we then turn around and use for budgeting our operations. And I think had we not done that many years ago, we would have a fund balance now in the millions, double-digit millions. So some of the crises we face each month are, with a fund balance that size, it would be nothing. It would be easy to manage, and unfortunately we're in crisis management many times. So as we move forward, and we're going to dig our way out of this, but as we do that, let's keep in mind that windfalls are usually temporary. So we'll budget for that and let those windfalls build our fund balance back.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any other council reports?
Just reported the Centennial Committee that met this week for a couple hours. We're at the stage now, some of it, Sandra, we're going to involve Sandra Geddes, I believe, in recruiting volunteers. You may recall we did the City Hall improvement needs. We've gone through the checklist. Many of the things have been done already. Of the money allocated, I think we have about 130 to 150,000 left. A lot of the work left is grunt work. We're hoping to get some volunteers. We have a couple of youth groups to come in to help out. That's pretty much it. We'll be meeting again, certainly, to keep at it. Downstairs looks good. Really good, in case you haven't seen it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your help with that. I should mention, well, you mentioned volunteers. Sandra Geddes is having a meeting tomorrow at noon for a committee she's formed to help her have a community council on special events. And then next week, a more broad meeting, I believe it's 5 p.m. on Wednesday, for any community members who would like to volunteer at the actual events themselves rather than just the planning of events. So I think she's doing a lot of great work in trying to get more people involved in the community. I think that would help by having a pool of people. It can help things like the Centennial Committee as well. I'm sure we'll tap into some great energy. I did have a meeting with department heads last week to share the budget information following Councillor Kelly's budget hearing on Thursday night. We had our regular once a month, first Friday department heads meeting. Since that meeting, a number of department heads have come up with constructive ideas for how we might move forward. And you distinguished in your presentation, Councillor Kelly, on the need to identify long-term revenues to address long-term expenses, and short-term revenues should really be devoted to fund balances and short-term expenses. Important for us to understand those two distinctions. And one of the reassuring things from the department heads that have approached me is that they're starting to look at not just short-term things we can do right now, but things that have long-term impact to help us going forward as well. And those discussions, I'm sure we're going to be continuing for the foreseeable future until we can get the structural revenues and structural expenses balanced. So thank you very much for your work there. It's very helpful.
Thank you.
Any other comments or?
I just have a question. It's more of a personal note. Mike, is anything being done within the city, do you know, for the Keeble family? As an employee group or union group? Because I know there's a GoFundMe.
The union has stepped up, and certain individuals in that department have stepped up. What was it called?
There's a GoFundMe page, but that's not to the city. Okay.
And the AFSCME bargaining unit is put together a collection also.
You know, I assumed as much, but I just wanted a little confirmation on that. Okay, good. Glad they're doing something. Okay.
Additional comments? This is the part of the agenda where we have public come and please comment on any items of their choice. Please feel free to come forward.
My name is John Lenning. This week I got my first bill from Excellus on surgery I had. My portion of it is over $4,000. Good insurance package you got here again. So not only are we looking at extra cost for prescription drugs, I'm now looking at $4,000 extra that's not being covered by Excellus. How long is this going to go on for? I sent most of you an email last week asking you to settle this damn thing. The majority of the people that are really going to be hurt by this, there are 39 retirees from the city of Plattsburgh that make less than $13,000 a year from the New York State retirement. Those are the people you're really going to hurt. You're going to want them now to be paying, like George Miller, paying $2,500 for prescription drugs since he's been switched. Let's resolve this. Why are we waiting for 2 attorneys in Albany to resolve this? Let's sit down and kick the damn attorneys out and say, how can we get the retirees to pay a little extra? Not thousands and thousands of dollars extra, but a little extra. Maybe we don't do the 0-10 copay on our prescription drug anymore. Most of the contracts said we do 5-10 anyway. Why can't you people take the initiative and say, Gary, Chris, John, any of the other members, let's sit down and resolve this damn thing. We're going broke because nobody wants to take action. I heard Mr. Kelly in the very closing arguments of the budget meeting, because I watched it on YouTube or whatever it is, basically blaming the healthcare for not going to be able to pave driveways or pave streets. I don't understand it. We paid over $130,000 of attorney fees as retirees. You have people who spend over $100,000. What is it going to take for one of you to stand up and say, let's have a goddamn meeting? One of you. Becky, Peter, Dale, Mike, Mayor. What is it going to take? I'm blown away. I have never seen a common council sit and not say a damn word to anybody addressing the council since 1980, since I've been coming here. I started coming here when I tried to build a building in Plattsburgh Plaza, and I ran into a roadblock with the assistant city engineer. And so I started coming to council meetings. I started paying attention. And I told Mayor Rennell at the time, Mayor, you gotta get 10 more businesses like mine, you wouldn't have any taxes. And he said, well, you can't be generating that much sales tax. And since we were doing $2 million, $700,000, we were generating a lot of sales tax for the city. And that was back when we were taking all of the revenue, and I don't know what we do anymore. I don't know if we take a proportion from the county. I don't know if we take our own. I haven't wanted, since the day I walked out of here with my blood pressure of 198/150, and my doctor saying, you can't work for that mayor anymore. I haven't had any inkling of coming back and talking to this council. I want to do my own things with my 8 grandchildren, spoiling the hell out of them, buying houses for them, buying cars, doing things with my money other than spending money on damn attorneys. So one of you, step up. All of you, step up. Let's have a meeting tomorrow, the next day. We can resolve it. Still no comments. Thank you.
I'm quite happy to make a comment. Having sat in on the meetings of the task force, I believe it's the consensus of the council to have been perfectly willing to accept the task force recommendations. So I don't really think the members of the council should be absorbing the responsibility for not being willing to discuss. I think it's a very honest statement that they would have been willing to accept the recommendations of the task force. So.
Yeah, but you put it from a voluntary to 50% of the retirees signing up for this crappy insurance. You changed the rules. It's no longer voluntary, oh, I'm going to offer you a bonus to sign up to it. If we don't get 50%, it's not a deal. Get rid of that. Let's solve it.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come up and speak, please? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong and second by Councilor Kelly. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
The reason my phone is on is because I turned it back on when the executives.
Alfred.
Mayor, this one you have to sign. I turned it on going back over there and then I forgot. We got that one. We'll go with that one.
And